Well, here we are in Austin, Texas at SolarWinds headquarters, and we've got a guest with ourselves to just tell us what's going on here. Do you want to introduce yourself real briefly?
Sure. My name is Josh Stevens, and I'm the Vice President and Head Geek here at SolarWinds.
And so what exactly is the portfolio of products that SolarWinds has?
Well, at SolarWinds we provide, obviously, network management tools, and they range from engineering tool sets for network engineers to run on their laptops to do diagnostic, troubleshooting, and analysis, all the way up to our enterprise-style application, Orion, which is a server-based fault and performance management system. So, really we have everything from, some small applications for small networks up to, very, very robust applications for larger networks, and really, aimed at anyone who has a network and needs to manage it.
So how would you, for people who aren't sort of as deep as in it as you are, how would you characterize network management? Like, what does that mean exactly in terms of the data center and the stack that's in there?
Well, when you have routers, switches, firewalls, infrastructure devices that provide network connectivity that are manageable, so not home-oriented devices, but things that are built for business, the management of those devices and the services they provide is really what network management is all about.
So it's sort of making sure that the bits get between each of the computers.
Making sure they get between, and in today's networks, most of the networks sort of work, on their own. It's a matter of how fast the bits get between computers, right, and why it's going as fast or as slow as it might be moving. And
so why do you think that's, like in the data center, there's sort of many different roles for people who take care of all the IT assets in there, and why do you think network management is a separate discipline than sort of server management or other sorts of management? How do you think that sorted itself out?
Well, I think that, over time, the networking has become, really complex. Sure, way back in the old days, even, back when I got started 15 years ago, I had to maintain servers and routers and switches and, network and system infrastructure all at once. But over time, the systems applications become very specialized and networking infrastructure has become very specialized. And so to be an expert with all the different things that you need to know as a network engineer, it's really almost too much to ask those people to know all of that and all of the system stuff. So network engineering has become its own specialty, and it's a great field to be in.
And so in that, you were saying you sort of have tools to higher level sort of applications that help you manage everything. And so what are the sort of tasks that the products in your portfolio perform or help people do?
Well, for example, as a network engineer, a common complaint you would get is that network performance was slow, or the internet seemed slow, for instance. And so to be able to analyze why that's occurring, whether it's a router issue or some sort of a switching problem, whether it's just the amount of traffic, and to use a tool like NetFlow to understand who's using that bandwidth and what they're doing with it. Those are some very common scenarios that network engineers get tasked with troubleshooting.
And what, so you also have, do you do sort of, is it just a tool set that you have, or is there more sort of like continuous like monitoring things to make sure they're up and they're working?
Great question.
And
so the tool set's oriented, really to be ran from a laptop or a PC and to do sort of real-time, right now diagnostics.
Right.
We also have Orion, which is an enterprise class, all the time monitoring application. And even for for smaller networks that just need basic fault monitoring, we offer IP Monitor as a solution for those guys that need something that does all the time monitoring, but not with a more advanced need like you would need Orion to do flow analytics or voice over IP management or things like that.
Right, that makes sense. So coming up, I guess, relative to when we're filming this now, next week, you're going to be releasing a new version of the, well, not a new version, an addition to the tool set that you have. And you want to show that really quick? We have it on the laptop.
Sure,
here.
Absolutely. Well, as you mentioned, the Engineers Tool Set version 10 is releasing next week. And with it comes Workspace Studio, which is a brand new concept in network management. And so, one of the things that this allows you to do is to create these customized workspaces or saved tabs for troubleshooting very specific situations that you might have there on your network that maybe occur more often than others.
Right. And so can you show us a little
I didn't know if you wanted me to. Absolutely.
Definitely. We'll just take a look at that really quick.
So for example, what I've done here is create a very easy to use dashboard or a workspace for monitoring the internet connection here at the office. We outsource some of our applications to a SaaS provider, and so commonly the sales team will come to me and says, hey, the internet seems slow, or Salesforce.com seems to be slow. What's the problem? And when they do that, I would commonly want to see what CPU load is on my firewall and my router, maybe some response time to some specific hosts out on the internet.
Right. This is the all too common finger pointing scenario.
It is. So whose fault is it, and what do I need to do to resolve the problem?
Right.
And so rather than have to recreate and research all of these every time I get that call, I've created a saved workspace I can then use to very, very quickly diagnose the problem. And so when you do that, you can actually to create a new workspace, just grab a new tab, and then start to drag the gauges or gadgets onto the page that you want, just so you can tell real quickly, where the problems might be.
Right. It's sort of like a personal dashboard.
That's
or I guess it could be a what else would you call it? Sort of a situational oriented dashboard. Whenever I'm doing the finger pointing thing, I bring up this one, or whenever I'm doing some other scenario, I bring up this other dashboard.
That's right. Or you may just want to use it as sort of a portal so that every day you keep an eye on the critical aspects of your network. And you really, so that you know where you need to go to make your next set of changes.
Right.
Where do you think the next problem is going to occur before it does.
Right. Like when you were talking earlier, you were saying it's if you're in sort of you need your software to motivate your to-do list. It's
That's
nice
exactly
to have
right.
something telling you what to do next.
It is. It's very nice to have something telling you what to do next. And it's nice to know before people storm into your office complaining about issues, where the issues are, and you'll be able to say, well, I'm already working on it. I saw it 5 minutes ago. Expect to have a resolution very quickly. And so the dashboard makes it very, very easily to save those types of setups, and also to share them with other users at thwack.com, in our community, or other users there at your own company, to where, if they're seeing similar issues, and maybe you all use the same type of firewall and you have a workspace saved for troubleshooting those firewall issues, to make it very easy to share that and share your best practices with other users with similar problems.
Well, great. Well, thanks for showing that to us. That was good stuff.
Thanks a lot.